42 from Effective Java. This is regarding prefer lambdas to anonymous classes. Passing functions as parameters in methods is not new to Java. This is existing from as early as Java 1.1. We used to do this using anonymous classes. Let's see an example. If you see here, I have a list of countries and I want to sort these countries in their alphabetical order. So for that I can use the collections.sort and I'm passing a list here, and I have to be passing an implementation of comparator method. So this is nothing but I am passing an implementation as a parameter which we are calling as function objects, and this is anonymous class. This doesn't have a name for the class. So this kind of implementation was existing in Java from very early versions, as early as Java 1.1. But as you can see, this is more verbose and readability is much reduced with this kind of implementation. Come Java 8. So as you all know, Java 8 added a new life to Java. So in Java 8, apart from many other features, the one of the important feature is lambda expressions with streams. So how we can improve this using lambda expressions? So lambda is nothing but it's a anonymous class, but it's a special anonymous class. It implements an interface with only a single abstract method. So any interface with a single abstract method can be termed a functional interface, and an implementation of that functional interface can be a lambda expression. So how can we improve this sorting of the countries using lambda expressions? So let's see this test method. So as you can see, this second parameter of the sort, it's a lambda expression. Here I am passing the two parameters and having some implementation here. So if you see with the earlier implementation, it has removed a lot of verbosity from the earlier implementation, and it is more readable, and you can just see the actual logic which is required to implement the sort. But how these parameters like this object 1 and object 2, how the types of these parameters are determined? I don't see any parameters here like string or integer. What are these parameters? So Java compiler, during compilation, it determines what will be the types of these parameters using the context. So the context here is we are calling a sort method, right? So which takes an input as countries, which is a list of string. So the second parameter should be sorting this list. So Java compiler will deduce that these parameters should be of type string. If I just remove this string here, the compiler will complain. So it won't be able to determine what will be the types of these objects. So it is a recommended practice to use any types, especially when you are using the lambda expressions, those types should be of generic types. You should not be using the raw types. Let's look into another interesting aspect with respect to lambda expressions. Let's consider this example. We have an enum which does an arithmetic operations given a symbol. So we have, for example, plus here, and which has an implementation of apply. So basically all the enums are implementing this abstract method. As you can see, it is more verbose, right? So a lot of repeated code here. How we can improve this? Let's try to implement this using lambda expressions. Here you can see that I have the same enum with arithmetic operations, but here instead of implementing the apply method, I am passing in function object, which is a lambda in the constructor. So I have an lambda here, double binary operator, which takes two parameters and returns a result which are of type double. So this double binary operator is provided by Java itself. It's in the JDK. So it's a functional interface. So let's see double binary operator which takes two parameters and returns a type of double, and it is annotated as functional interface. As I said, functional interface, it is an interface which has only one abstract method. So we are passing a functional interface, rather the implementation of the functional interface lambda as a parameter in the constructor, and using the same function object in the apply method. With this we can see that a lot of verbosity is reduced. If you have an interface with a single abstract method, prefer lambda expressions. And if you have more than one abstract method, like in an interface, then obviously you will go with anonymous classes. Also, if your implementation is more than 3 lines of code, right, if it is a big implementation, then you prefer anonymous classes, because readability of the code is most important part, right? For lambda expressions are more readable if you have 1 or 2 lines of implementation. If it is more than that, you prefer anonymous classes. With lambda expressions, you cannot access the function object which is implementing that implementation. For example, here in the lambda expression, if we use, let's say, I put braces here, and if I use this, so this will refer to the enclosing type, like this sample class, but it won't refer to this lambda expression. As you can see, the IDE itself is showing the methods in the enclosing type. But here in this implementation of anonymous classes, this will refer to this implementation, this function object. So we need to remember this differentiation. Hope this is useful to understand the benefits of lambda expressions over anonymous classes, and when to use lambda expressions and when to use anonymous classes. So remember that anonymous classes are no more obsolete, they are still relevant, but we need to prefer lambda expressions when we have functional interfaces. Otherwise, you go with anonymous classes. Thank you, and I will see you in the next item.